Hello my motor enthusiasts. We are revving up for another episode of F1 Motor Fever podcast.
Hi there Enzo Watts, I hear there's some interesting news from the world of Formula One.
Oh, that's right. 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton has been making some observations about the stellar performance of Red Bull Racing.
Really? The same Red Bull Racing that's on a winning streak and has managed to snag every victory this season.
The very same, William. It's a perfect 13 out of 13 for Red Bull so far. Hamilton, having tasted similar success with Mercedes, sees some parallels between the two teams.
Curious indeed. What's he based his comparison on?
He's drawn from his own experience with the Mercedes W11, which he deems one of his best cars. The parallels between the W11 and Red Bull's RB19 seem quite striking to him.
So, Hamilton sees the RB19 as a formidable race machine.
Precisely, William. He's hailed it as super stable and seems impressed with Red Bull's capacity to deliver consistently top-tier performance.
Blimey! Sounds like Red Bull might be heading towards a historic feat in Formula One.
Yes, indeed. If they continue their current form, all remaining races may well fall into their lap. And this has all been quite the spectacle, hasn't it, William?
Absolutely, Enzo. Let's buckle up and delve deeper into this riveting tale of horsepower and high speeds.
Hello, folks. This is your host Enzo, the voice that brings you the thrill of Formula One right to your headphones.
And this is William, your trusted co-pilot and commentator on this thrilling ride.
We're here every day on your favorite channel F1 Motor Fever podcast. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell to ensure you don't miss a single gear shift or pit stop. So, let's hit the throttle, full speed ahead. Just a quick side note here, the information we are discussing comes from an article penned by Dre Harrison, posted on the 3rd of December, 2023, on the well-known WTF1 site. Quite a reputable source, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's one of the most followed sites among us Formula One enthusiasts. Still, it's always a wise idea to cross-check information, to keep our facts straight.
Couldn't agree more. Now, back to our main discussion. So, here's an interesting piece of news. The one and only Lewis Hamilton, a man who knows a thing or two about dominance, has compared the 2023 Red Bull's performance to his own legendary run in the Mercedes W11. Quite a compliment, isn't it? The W11 is regarded as one of the finest cars in F1 history, enabling Hamilton to clinch an impressive 11 victories in the 16 races he participated in during the 2020 season.
Absolutely, and Hamilton's words shed some light on why Red Bull was so dominant. He mentions the car's stability and mentions that it's firing on all cylinders, similar to his Mercedes W11, which was a hallmark of his dominance.
Indeed. Hamilton even went on to say that driving such a car is a dream for a driver as it allows you to fully utilize your personal abilities. Interestingly, he believes that even in their closest encounters, Red Bull still had the upper hand.
It's fascinating to hear such an assessment from someone who has been at the pinnacle of the sport. Hamilton's comments about Max Verstappen's controlled dominance and how he was chilling at the front more often than not really underscore the magnitude of Red Bull's achievement.
Agreed. Red Bull's sheer dominance, according to Hamilton, allowed them to manage their tires better and stay in the sweet spot throughout the race. It's clear that Hamilton holds a great deal of respect for the achievement. Now here's a bit more about Red Bull's dominance. The team has had an outstanding season, with Hamilton himself predicting them to win each of the final 9 races. This would be an unprecedented clean sweep. The Milton Keynes-based outfit is relentlessly pursuing a record of winning every single Grand Prix in a season.
That's quite remarkable. McLaren came close in 1988 with 15 out of 16 races won, and Mercedes, with Hamilton and Nico Rosberg, did manage to win 19 out of 21 races in 2016. However, Red Bull is set to raise the bar even higher.
Absolutely right. Red Bull's stellar performance last year saw them win 17 out of 22 races, following early competition from Ferrari. The team's principal, Christian Horner, did anticipate a catch-up from Mercedes and Ferrari, but that hasn't materialized into race-winning pace yet.
Hamilton seems to hold out some hope though, stating that if there were any mistakes or mishaps, he and his team would be right there to capitalize on it.
Yes, Hamilton acknowledges that the dominance of Red Bull might be unbreakable this year, but hopes that his team could get closer by the end of the year. You know, I've got a mate who is an ardent fan of Red Bull, he'd be absolutely chuffed to hear about this. William, why don't we have a butcher's at what people are saying online about some of these topics?
Absolutely, let's dive in. We've got a post here from a Jovan Milik. He says, quote, Ferrari, big contract for Leclerc. The current Leclerc agreement expiring in 2024 will be extended until 2029 with a salary that will go from 25 million up to 50. Carlos asks for a 2-year contract, the Reds want 1 year, unquote.
That's quite a contract.
Indeed, and the comments thread is interesting as well. Delta Blitz asks why Italians are so fond of Leclerc, to which Blue Ghosts responds, quote, seen as one of the biggest prospects in years for Ferrari, came through the driver academy, family links with Jules, unquote. And Jules they're referring to is Jules Bianchi, who was an upcoming driver with Ferrari.
That makes sense.
A user named One Alps asks why Italians love Jules, and Bald Barreto explains that Jules was the first ever recruit for the driver academy and was being groomed for a seat at Ferrari.
Tragic what happened to him.
Yes, indeed. C. Warren comments that it's a love story between Charles and Ferrari. Charles has always openly expressed his dream of driving for Ferrari, and the love seems to be mutual.
A true passion for the prancing horse, eh?
Absolutely. AG Arrow chimes in with a bit of history, saying that Ferrari was competitive with Mercedes in the years 2017 to 2019, with 2017 being their peak year. However, Ed Fitz disagrees, saying that Ferrari won a few races against Mercedes in those years, but they weren't really competitive for the top spot.
It's always interesting to see how fans perceive these things, isn't it?
It certainly is. And to wrap up, there's an interesting comment from Elrond Hubbard. He says, quote, he's also one of the few potential generational talents on the grid. Other than Max, Charles is probably the best of the younger drivers, unquote. High praise indeed.
Certainly. It's always fascinating to get a peek into the minds of the fans. Back to you, William. We've reached the checkered flag for today's episode of F1 Motor Fever podcast, folks. We've had a blinding time talking all things Red Bull, Hamilton, and Ferrari, and we hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. Don't forget to engage with us, whether it's by subscribing, activating those notifications, or leaving us a comment. Every bit of your interaction makes our day brighter and our conversations richer.
Absolutely, and remember, we're up at dawn putting these episodes together for you. So, share the love, share the knowledge, and spread the word about our podcast at the pub, at your family Sunday roast, or even while you're in a queue at the shops. You'll be spreading the F1 love while helping us reach more fans.
And keep an eye out for our next episode. We've got some more thrilling racing content sitting on the starting grid, ready to roar into your ears soon.
That's right. It's lights out and away we go, every single day here at F1 Motor Fever podcast. Can't reveal what's up next, but let's just say, it's going to be a belter.
So, until next time, we want to say a massive thank you for joining us on this journey. Keep those engines revving and remember, William and Enzo, pedal to the metal, keep your gaze on the road, our channel's content is pure gold.